A little say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right, all right. Once again, we thank each and every one of you and all of you together collectively for the co-creation of this interaction and the allowance of this transmission at this time. Each and every time you co-create with us these interactions, you give us the gift of experiencing through each and every one of you another facet of creation. We thank you for that gift. Let us begin this transmission at this time with the title, 2027, the Fulcrum of Contact. Now, we have previously in these transmissions discussed the idea of a general probability for a window for the beginning of open contact between your civilization and other civilizations more openly on your planet. This window in general has been said to be between your years of 2025 and 2033, give or take a year or two on either side. But the idea now is that things are beginning to crystallize a little bit more, and we can, at this point in scanning the probabilities, pinpoint the year 2027 specifically as an acceleration toward the idea, the beginning of contact in a variety of ways, a little bit more than the idea of just delivering information to you. It will begin slowly, still. We're not saying that in 2027 all the ships are going to land. That's not what we're saying. So please do not misinterpret this idea. There is still a window. It will begin very strongly in 2027, and here is the explanation of why. Many of you are already familiar in your history with the idea of a seminal event regarding UFO contact that happened in your year of 1947, what you call the Roswell incident, where you really first began to realize that you are not alone in the universe through the crash of a UFO in the desert near your Roswell and Corona in New Mexico. From that point forward began a cycle. Once you had become aware as a society that other beings other than yourself exist on other planets and have the capacity to reach your world with their technology, many different things began to change within your collective consciousness, within your psyche, your awareness. And that began a 40-year cycle. Now, the 40-year cycle has been prevalent in your society for many thousands of years. The idea is that 40 years is generally, in your reality, the time it takes for a complete transformation of a society into a completely new point of view. You see examples of the idea of people changing over 40-year cycles throughout much of your literature if you look for it. The idea, therefore, is that from 1947 to 1987 was the first 40-year cycle when you became aware of the idea of other life in the universe. And in 1987, many of you started to realize that there was another culmination cycle going on then, and you called it the harmonic convergence. And at that time, we began to bring through more information about what's going on out in the universe and how different kinds of societies relate to your world, specifically about the idea of the beings you call the Greys, and how we first began to explain the real legacy, the real history of what that society was all about, being that they were originally humans on a version of Earth in a parallel reality that did not necessarily take care of their world, that destroyed their version of Earth through their technological means and their lack of spiritual context, and mutated themselves eventually in order to survive into the beings you now know as the Greys. We told you this story and helped you understand that the reason that they came from their reality to yours and many other versions of Earth was to access viable human DNA, since they were no longer able to reproduce, And with that DNA and their technology, create a race of hybrid beings that would continue their culture so they would not die out. As we have explained many times, of course, we are one of those hybrid civilizations. And Earth, in a sense, in its evolution, is becoming another hybrid civilization. But the idea being from that point forward in 1987, when you began to realize what the larger story was and how you're connected to it, and how the information that we share with you is not only for the purpose of continuing the Grey's original culture from the parallel Earth, but also to help your world not necessarily go down the same path of destruction, because you had many similar traits and still have many similar traits to what it is that brought about the destruction of their version of Earth in their reality. But by disseminating and absorbing this information into your society, you have the option they didn't have. You have the option to take a different path. You have the option to create a reality that you prefer. You have the option to create positive realities of peace. So the idea here then is we are now nearing the end of that next 40-year cycle in 9 of your years in 2027. And that's why 2027 is now the focal point when the next 40 years, the next phase of contact can begin. It will accelerate at that point in a variety of unexpected ways. There will be more sightings, there will be more synchronicity, there will be here and there on your planet individual and isolated contacts happening. Now, as we have explained, the hybrid races that exist will not necessarily be the first beings that you interact with. There are others that you will interact with that in many ways are actually a little bit more like you and a little bit closer in relation to your world, and therefore interaction with beings more like yourselves will alleviate some of the ideas of panic that some people on your planet may feel in interacting with alien species, allowing you the opportunity to get used to the idea that you can have neighbors from the stars. And as soon as that becomes something that you are far more familiar with, then other races that are a little less like you can begin to introduce themselves in a constructive and peaceful manner that does nothing to disrupt the society that you have chosen to create for yourselves. But it will begin in earnest. The next phase will begin in 2027 and accelerate from there all the way up, as we said, till about 2033. Between 2033 and 2040, as we read the energy as it exists now, if nothing changes, the highest probability is that between those years, 2033, 2040, you will experience complete open contact on your planet. And during that time, also, the children that were created from the extraction of the DNA, the hybrid children, will begin to arrive on Earth to live in certain enclaves, in certain secluded areas, safe areas on your planet, again, where they can live as a group, where they can acclimate to living in your society, and you can acclimate to their society, and you can begin to blend and harmonize and welcome into your reality, welcome them into your world, and begin to really develop a real strong relationship with those children, to begin to truly understand your place in the stars, your very honored place in the galactic family. And through those years, 2033 to 2040, you will develop much, much more understanding of all the interrelationships that have occurred and can occur between your world and other beings from the stars. From that point forward, again, as we read the energy now, up till about the year 2050, all of that acclimatization will take place so that somewhere around the year 2050, you can actually enter into membership, if you wish, with the idea of the Interstellar Alliance and truly begin in earnest your education of the galaxy and a true understanding and connection of creation and existence that will spread you to the stars to explore, to discover more of yourself, and allow you to truly, from that point forward, develop a true harmony and a true paradise on your planet. So 2027 will be the kickoff point for that, a very strong one, and you will see a lot of different things happening in that year. It will be a very exciting time. Now, before that time, we give you a little bit of a preview coming up into your next year of 2019, which we are going to label the crossing of the threshold. You will find 2019 will have what you would call a lot of things breaking up, ups and downs, scattering, more splitting into different parallel ideas, more dichotomy, more polarization, but again, the continuation of getting everything out on the table so you can decide what kind of a reality you truly wish to have. And it will lead up to your year of 2020, which is a very important point for a variety of reasons we will get into in more detail later. But the idea is you can understand it symbolically as not only the idea of 2020 vision, seeing very clearly now where you are heading, but also the way you use it in your reality of 2020 hindsight, where you can really look back, see where you've come from much more clearly to make a very clear decision in that year of where it is you would prefer to go, and really begin to live in the reality you prefer, regardless of what may be going on with other people's choices, regardless of what other choices they may make to experience different kinds of reality than you may feel vibrationally compatible with. Regardless of that, the splitting into the different parallel realities and the different paths that can lead you into the reality you prefer will truly be happening in 2020, where you will have a much clearer understanding and a much clearer vision of where you've come from, why you've come that way, and where you can go from there. And that will help in that period leading up to 2027. That will help crystallize it for you and make sure that you are precisely, exactly, synchronistically where you need to be that serves you best in 2027, so that you may experience the fruits of all you have learned in the beginning of the point of contact with other worlds. So we thank you for working with us in this way. It is absolutely our passion to be able to further contact with your civilization among the other civilizations that we have contacted. It gives us great joy to be able to know that it is possible to interact with your world in this way, and invite you into the family so that you can begin your process of moving at whatever pace is comfortable for you from the idea of Homo sapien to Homo galacticus. So, we will talk more about this in more detail as the years progress, as it begins to unfold. We will point out certain synchronicities that it would be wise to pay attention to so you can add them to your bag of knowledge and your ability to gain more insight and outer sight as to what's going on around you more clearly. And taking into account what we discussed last night of your time, knowing that you are all time travelers in a sense, determining which parallel reality paths you are taking by following your joy, by acting on your passion to the best you can, dropping all the insistence on what you think is supposed to happen and letting reality show you, letting creation show you the gifts that it has for you, and responding to them in a positive way will drive you forward and allow you to experience the great acceleration that we're talking about that will come to a head in 2027. So then, in return at this time for the gift that you have given us in allowing us to experience all of you in this way and form a link and a bridge to your society with ours, I ask in return, how may we now be of service to you? Please begin with your questions and dialogues if you wish. So you create, but becoming aware that you are a co-creator is the point. And by following your passion, it raises your frequency and allows you more ability to become aware of your relationship to creation and how you can be more consciously aware of how you are creating your reality experience through the choices that you make and through your beliefs about what you believe is true for you. Yes?
What does my frequency look like to you? Can you see like
At this particular moment, your overall frequency is somewhere around 135 to 137,000 cycles per second as we read you right now. Understand that most people on your planet, on average at that time, operate between 40 to 60,000 cycles per second. The threshold between physical reality and spirit is 333,000 cycles per second. Most of you, when you transition into fourth density, when you upgrade yourselves and have your peaceful reality, finally, that you create peace on your planet, you'll be operating above the 200,000 cycle per second range. Our civilization operates roughly on average about 290,000 to 300,000 cycles per second at this point in our evolution. So that gives you some sense of a range.
So everyone in this room is fourth density, is that right?
You are moving into fourth density by your own choice, which simply means you're upgrading your energy, you're upgrading your frequency. You're allowing yourself to know that you can actually experience a reality of creativity, love, and peace, whereas many people on your planet don't have those belief systems and therefore operate at a lower frequency.
Is anyone
but that's their choice.
higher than fourth, like fifth density, or is that possible to be
Higher than fourth density?
Yeah.
Not while being physical, no.
not well being physical?
No.
So at
Then
a
you
certain,
transition into fifth density, which is another name for what you call the spirit realm.
so when you reach that threshold, then your body moves into another.
You will no longer be physical.
What frequency level does that occur at?
Fifth density.
Fifth.
Yes, fifth density, above 333,000 cycles per second. And up.
So by raising your frequency, that automatically happens. Like you'll just disappear.
Well, eventually, but remember that it automatically happens. Yes, in a sense. That's why we call ourselves, in our civilization, quasi-physical. We still have physicality, but we also have many of the traits of spirit. Time and space for us are very flexible, very malleable. We're not anchored to it in the same way that many of you are. But the idea is that you experience that transition all the time when you die.
So say what color is my aura, for example? Like what core?
Right now, as we perceive it, it's kind of an iridescent, silvery, light seafoam green.
Is there a core like color that you stay with throughout your life?
The core color is white.
White.
Yes. The highest frequency, that's the combination of all the frequencies.
Is that my particular frequency, or is that
the core frequency is everyone's core frequency, because the core frequency is your spark of creation, your spark of all that is. But you have variations as a spectrum based on what aspect you're expressing of your core at this particular moment. You're nowhere near expressing your total core.
right? So I understood like people come in like with certain colors like red or
They come in with certain themes that may then be represented by certain energy spectrums that represent the theme that they're exploring or where they're at in the exploration of the theme.
so what color is my theme, or
No. You're asking questions that don't have answers that way. I've told you where you're at right now. That's where you're at right now. That's all you need to know. Follow your passion. It will change automatically. You don't have to necessarily narrow it down to what color am I now? What color am I now? What color am I now? You're only going to slow down the process by focusing on it that way. Just be yourself, follow your passion, do the best you can. That's all you need to do. You'll be fine. Yes?
I wasn't.
That will do.
That will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
I had another incident in the snow.
Another incident in the snow.
Yes.
All right.
So I went out and there was a gazebo with
Yes.
a Christmas tree inside it.
Yes.
And I went out there and the Christmas tree had fallen down and I put it back up. And then the next night when I went out, there was a path that was carved in the snow with rose petals.
Yes.
And I was thinking, oh, this is really beautiful. Someone maybe proposed or honored someone who had passed or whatever.
Yes.
But then the footprints were odd.
In what way?
They were small and they're like little dress shoes. They almost look like little
The shoes of
like
a child.
leprechaun or a child's shoes, yes.
Yes.
And then there was like a few animal prints.
All right.
Can you give me clarity on what that was?
I can. Oh, you're asking me to?
Yes.
Understand that as your parallel realities begin to split, you will find that there will be more also of a kind of crystallization in the energy field of your planet that will allow for what you would typically call both nature spirits and also sometimes, on rare occasions, some of the hybrid children to come and play a few tricks with you and set up symbols and set up scenarios like a game for you to follow to see what you do with that and what it leads you to within yourself. So there are other kinds of beings that do exist that are connected to your world that you don't often see because you're not necessarily on a vibratory level to do so, but they have their own reality. They understand they have a relationship with you as part of the earth, and sometimes they will manifest themselves a little bit more physically than usual to be able to interact in your reality. It's another form of contact. It's another form of delivering information, but in a visual way, in an experiential way, to see what you do with it, to see how you might also want to play, to see what you get out of it, to see what you add to it, so that you can go back and forth in playing with these other forms of consciousness, these other forms of life, so that you become more familiar with them on your planet, because in the future, you'll be able to interact with them much more directly. So this is the beginning of contact from the consciousness of the nature spirits themselves, to see how far you're willing to go, to see whether or not you're still going to be operating in fear or whether you're going to be operating in joy and love. Yes?
Yes, well, it was really joyful and loving.
All right.
And I took some of the rose petals home and put them in my medicine bag.
All right. And so?
I don't know why I'm crying right now.
Because you are aligning with your true self, and that usually forces the chemical components of negative beliefs out of your system through your tears. It's tears of release, tears of alignment, tears of joy when you are aligning with something you know is true for you, when you've discovered a new piece of yourself in the world. You have discovered a treasure within yourself, a treasure of your connection to those levels of reality, those levels of creation that allows you to be more free to be who you are. That's cause for release and joy. Yes?
Yes.
Does this help?
Yes.
Anything else?
Yes. So when I discussed with you before, my teacher with the bone knife,
Yes.
I've had more communications with him.
All right.
And I decided to find out on my own
Yes.
who he is and where he's from.
All right. And what have you discovered?
It's still confusing. I still
That's
don't.
all right. It's a process.
So
Doesn't have to
Does
come
he-
right away.
is he incarnated at this
I
time?
cannot help you in this process yet. You're in the middle of it. Can't spoil it for you. Can't spill the beans. Let the cats out of the bags. Open all your presents. You need to go a little further in your process on your own. Keep going. You're doing fine. At some point, we'll be able to discuss this with you further, but not in mid-process. Otherwise, we spoil the surprises for you.
Okay.
All right?
So you're probably not going to tell me what it means to follow the red feather?
I probably am not.
Okay.
Good guess.
Yeah. So the signature frequencies, so we all inherently have a very unique frequency.
You all
But
have
they
a
all can
unique
change?
expression. Your signature vibration, in a sense, will not change. But you can change the secondary vibrations around it that represent your unique expression of the signature frequency. But the signature frequency is a different expression from everyone else. It's your unique reflection of all that is. Your unique reflection as an expression of creation. Yes?
Okay.
And then you can express different frequencies of that, different ways of expressing that signature frequency as you go through your process of rediscovering yourself.
So when you're reading someone's frequency, you're reading the frequency around the signature?
Yes.
Okay.
Because if I just read the signature frequency, it wouldn't really matter much to you. Your signature frequencies are all very, very, very high. It's just that you're clouding them with all sorts of fear-based belief systems that doesn't allow the light to shine through as strongly as it could.
Okay.
That's the whole point. It's clearing out the attic, clearing out the basement of all the negative fear-based beliefs that cloud your ability to express the signature frequency that you are as an aspect and reflection of creation more fully. That's what this is all about. Letting go of who you're not and being who you truly are. Each of you is a puzzle piece within creation. You are a certain shape. That shape fits with all the other puzzle pieces to create the big picture of all that is. But when you try to be a shape you're not, you won't fit. You won't help create the big picture. Trying to be someone you're not is the most difficult thing you can do in life. It exhausts you. It tires you out. It kills you, literally, to be someone you're not. Let go and be who you are. Uplift yourself, and then you will fit. And the big picture will be formed before your eyes. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
So in like what you said about the fulcrum,
Yes.
I was going to ask about like an update on the precursors. Are they going to be more
They will be more active.
active?
For those that don't understand, precursors are extraterrestrial beings that look similar enough to you that they can walk among you, but they have a very different frequency. And the precursors go about your planet from time to time, walking through your cities and your countrysides. And when you might sometimes now and then pass by them, they observe to see if you can tell that they're not from your world. That is used as a measurement of your sensitivity and your readiness to be able to interact with beings from other civilizations. That's the job of the precursors. So that will increase, and especially it will increase in the fulcrum of contact year of 2027. Yes.
Okay. I think
Thank
that's
you.
it. Thank you.
One moment. Somebody asked, well, which civilization are the precursors from? They are from the fourth hybrid race, the Shayael, and some from the Yael, the fifth hybrid race. Because those are the ones that look most like you.
Hello, Bashar.
And a good day.
Thank you. I would like a little clarity on the concept of vibrations.
Yes.
Because I think you talk about raising or lowering your vibration.
Yes,
and
your
I was wondering what it is actually
It's your energy.
that's vibrating.
Energy has frequency to it. A simple example is what you call your visible spectrum of light, yes? You know it's all the same kind of electromagnetic energy, but you know that red is a different frequency, a different vibrational rate than blue, which is a higher vibrational rate. Yes?
Yes.
So when you allow yourself to align with your truth, your passion, your creativity, your love, you are allowing yourself to upgrade and accelerate, raise up your frequency. And by raising up your frequency, it makes you more sensitive as a receiver, in a sense, as an antenna, to pick up on even higher frequencies above and beyond your reality. Your senses expand. You start being able to perceive the structure of existence. You start being able to understand that you have a direct connection to Source. You start being able to actually experience it in that way. you start being able to realize that you are already being given everything you can possibly be given. You don't necessarily have to ask for more. It's that you just have to pay more attention to what you're already getting. And raising your frequency makes you a more sensitive receiver to be able to pay more attention to what you're already being given that helps you. Yes? Does that answer your question?
I think I could think about that for a long time, actually.
Well, if you insist, you can think about it for as long or as short as you wish. But it's really not that complicated. You're just making yourself basically more sensitive to receive higher energy information by matching that level, by matching that frequency. Remember, the principle is you cannot perceive what you are not the vibration of. So when you are vibrating at a certain rate, at a certain frequency, you can't perceive the things that are vibrating like this. You have to raise your frequency and become matched to that frequency like two tuning forks to be able to receive and understand and translate and process that vibration and all the information and all the experience that is relative to that vibration. If you're down at this level on this vibration scale, you can't really have any experiences that are representative of a different vibrational level. Make sense?
Yeah.
You have to think about that for a while too, I suppose.
But to rate, I guess the second part of my question would be to
Yes.
raise my vibration.
That's the formula that we've given you all. Yes? You act on your highest passion because passion is the translation in your body of your true frequency.
Okay.
You do it to the best you are able, and you do it with absolutely no insistence and no assumption, thinking that you know what the outcome is supposed to be of acting on that passion because your physical mind really has no idea. And if you insist on knowing what that outcome should be and put those kinds of restrictions on it, your higher mind and creation cannot necessarily then give you what could actually be much better than you have imagined. So you have to really trust the synchronicity and the higher self to deliver to you, when you're in the correct vibration of passion, all the things you truly need at that moment. Your physical mind is only designed to understand and experience what's happening, what's going on right now at this moment, and take that experience in. Your physical mind is not designed to really know what's going to happen, but higher intelligence does. And therefore it guides you and says, follow your passion. That's the compass needle pointing to your true north. That's the compass needle that allows you to align with your true self and your true path in life. Follow the passion, follow the love, follow the excitement, follow the curiosity, follow the creativity. That's what you are. That's who you are. And then you know your path will be unerring. It will be the path of least resistance, the path of joy. You will experience less struggle and strife. It's just the way it works. You're going with the flow of your current. You're not swimming upstream. You're not resisting it. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, yes.
So that's the formula. Act on your highest passion to the best you can at every moment. Do it as much as you can, as far as you can take it, until you can take it no further. Then act on the next most exciting thing. And then do that with absolutely no insistence, no assumption as to what the outcome ought to be, and see what happens. And then whatever happens, remain in a positive state. Even if something manifests that you don't initially prefer, you have to know it's there for a reason. There are no accidents. It's there for a reason. Learn to stay in a positive state, and then you can use what you don't prefer in a way that you do prefer and get the benefit from it. But you have to know that whatever you are given is what you need at that moment. Because sometimes you will test yourself. Maybe something will manifest that you don't prefer, and maybe you will find yourself reacting in the same old way with the same old fear-based beliefs and say, oh, why did that happen? Something must be wrong. Something's off. I will judge myself. I must have done something wrong. That is what exactly makes that state stick and stay there and get you in a loop of negativity. But if you suddenly realize, all right, I recognize objectively that I don't prefer this, but I know it's got to be there for a reason that serves me. I just know that. Then you will be able to extract the benefit. You will see eventually why it happened in that way, if for nothing else again, that you tested yourself to make sure that you're not making your happiness conditional on what happens outside. You are making your happiness conditional only on what you decide is true for you. Yes?
Fantastic.
Is this helping?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
All right. You didn't need much time to think about that then, yeah?
Well, no. Somehow it just
Clicked.
clicked in there.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And a you good day.
Going back to when you were talking about the 9 levels of consciousness,
Yes.
I was trying to get a better understanding. You made an emphasis on the emotions, the beliefs, the emotions, and the thoughts, reversing them.
Belief systems are the blueprint that leads to emotions, thoughts, and behaviors that creates your experience in reality.
And you made a point to say that the way we normally think about that, we should flip that upside down. So that
No.
beliefs are on
No,
top.
no. Not that you should flip it upside down. What we're saying is you think it's upside down.
Yeah.
That's the way your society sees it. In other words, you think your subconscious mind and your unconscious mind are below your conscious mind. They're not. They're above. Because it comes from the less physical to the more physical. So the unconscious mind is actually a higher frequency than the subconscious mind, which is a higher frequency than the physical mind. So what we're saying is you need to understand that that's the way it actually is, so that you can work with it in a more constructive way rather than thinking that the subconscious and unconscious mind are below or beneath the physical mind, which gives the physical mind the idea that it's somehow in charge, which it's not.
So is this compatible with the idea of the chakra system? Because when I think about it, it doesn't.
Not exactly, no. It's not quite the same thing as the idea of the chakra system in the body. The chakra system in the body are simply the energy centers that process the idea of the beliefs, the emotions, the thoughts, the behaviors in a way that allows you to experience yourself either in balance or out of balance with your own true, fundamental, essential frequency. So the chakras give you an understanding of how to align more clearly with your true essential frequency and give you an understanding of when you may be out of alignment with that true essential frequency. So it's not exactly the same thing, although they're interrelated, because one is an expression of what's going on in the others.
Right.
Does that help?
So it won't help to try and synthesize those two systems of thought. It's just better to keep them separate.
You can synthesize them together. They do work together, as I just said. So if you understand the interrelationship of what the chakra centers are showing you, whether you are in balance, out of balance, then that gives you an opportunity to maybe go in and examine your belief systems and why the beliefs you're holding on to are throwing you out of balance, represented by the imbalance in the chakra system. So you're using the chakra system, in a sense, as a way, as an indicator to let you know when there might be something out of whack, out of balance, out of alignment within you. Now, it doesn't mean you have to do it that way. Some people are sensitive to being able to read that. Some people are not. It's not necessarily their particular permission slip. But it can be used that way. But that's the relationship.
All right, thank you.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Anything else?
I just wanted to know, like, basically, you have a very simple formula.
Yes, I do.
And
because creation is fundamentally very simple. It can be richly complex, but the structure is very, very simple.
And it's the answer you give to everyone every time, pretty much in different words.
Because there is only one instruction manual. There's only one formula. If you understand that, you're free and you can answer all your own questions. That's the point.
So
it's like saying, if I handed you an instruction manual to help you understand how to operate a piece of machinery, would you start looking for extra pages going, there must be more to the instructions than this? Or would you be happy that the instruction manual was relatively simple?
I'm just wondering why, what do people get caught up in? Why it seems so simple and yet it's...
Because you have been taught to believe that things have to be a struggle in order to be worthwhile.
So the process, pretty much, if you were to begin, is to simply
the process
try to imagine
is to simply understand the instructions,
right,
clearly,
and to make that applicable and
and
practical.
to apply them in your reality, and you'll get the result. Just like, again, if you follow the instructions in an instruction manual for a piece of machinery, the machine will operate according to the instructions. Now, the machine of creation always operates. The instruction manual is designed to reveal to you how it operates to your advantage instead of to your disadvantage, because you're the one in charge of pushing those buttons. You have free will to choose whether you'll be in alignment with creation or out of alignment with creation. So the instruction manual is a way of understanding how to be in alignment, how to go with the flow to your advantage.
So the more excitement, the more passion you have,
Yes.
the higher your frequency.
Yes. The more you act on your passion. It's not necessarily about the volume of passion. It's about the frequency upon which you're willing to act on it. Because sometimes you can start small and you can say, well, I don't have any large-scale passion project or a large-scale passionate career or anything like that. But at any given moment, I have a number of options available to me that I can take action on. They can be very, very basic and very simple. Take a walk, read a book, call a friend, eat a meal. The idea is that synchronicity is the organizing principle. Therefore, whichever one contains even the tiniest bit more attractiveness, gets your curiosity a little bit more strongly than any other choice, that's the one to act on first until you can act on it no further. When you can act on it no further, then look for the next thing that has even just the tiniest bit more excitement in it, more attractiveness in it than any other choice, and act on that next. That's how synchronicity brings it to you in a way that makes it organize all the things you need to do in the order in which you need to do them in perfect timing. And you can start that way. Now, eventually, if it needs to build up into something bigger, then it will snowball into something bigger because more and more opportunities will come to you synchronistically that might be representative of larger opportunities, larger expressions of your passion. But it's not so much about the volume itself as it is the frequency with which you're willing to act on it that makes the difference.
So there's not a threshold of energy, so to speak, that you have to cross before a manifestation occurs?
You're always manifesting something, aren't you? Aren't you manifesting right now? That's your nature. If you weren't manifesting, you wouldn't be having a physical experience at all. So obviously you can manifest. It's about becoming more aware that you manifest, and it's about becoming more aware of how you manifest, and about becoming more aware of how you can prefer to manifest things that are more in alignment with who you truly are. It's not about learning to do something you're not already doing. It's about becoming more aware of what you're already doing in a conscious way. That's all. You're already manifesting. That's natural. It's built in. You can't help it. That's just what you are. You're a manifester. You're a co-creator.